Superstar names are littering the field at Memorial this week. Victor Hovland's coming out party last year en route to winning the FedEx Cup. Billy Horschel got on the map with a victory a couple of years ago, and Patty Ice has won twice here. What about his odds to win? How do you pick a winner at the Memorial? That's what we are here to tell you and to dissect. Chris Brees and Ben Everill, who I'm going to call it a landmine victory for you here, a landmark thing for you here. Benny, how many in a row have you been to now? You're going to Memorial this week. How many have you been to in a row now?
I think that'll make it 14 in a row that I've been at Muirfield Village. That's plenty of Jack Nicklaus's beautiful milkshakes, let me tell you. I'll come back a few pounds heavier for sure. That's one of the great stats. How many milkshakes over or under this week? We'll have to wait and see.
What's your favorite flavor?
Oh, I just go with something like the Twix or Oreo, something with a bit of chocolate, and a little bit more in there. I enjoy it. As I said, it's pretty cool there. It's one of those unique things. It's sort of a clubhouse only thing, so it's one of those perks you can get with the job. Why not take advantage, right?
So here's what we are doing every week. Our key stats at the beginning of each tournament, looking at what the winners in previous years have done successfully to help you make your picks this week. So this time we are starting strokes gained around the green. You could have went scrambling rank as well, but look at your last five winners, Ben, and how well they did in this category. Hovland was the only one not in the top five in the field.
You can go back even further with this sort of stuff too, mate. Like when Tiger Woods was winning at Muirfield almost every time he teed it up there. There's so many highlights of guys chipping in and making big moves from off and around these tricky greens. It's a major level course, major talent there all the time, and it has to be. You have to be good around the greens if you're going to contend. You can't compound your mistakes, so to speak. You will make a few because it's a demanding golf course. You have to be able to get up and down. I mean, even last year we saw Hovland, who notoriously before this was really terrible around the greens, terrible getting up and down. He'd improved his game significantly. He even had one of those whiffs on the par three on the back nine in the tournament, but managed to get up and down from there, regain himself, and actually produce some great shots from around and in and around the greens from that point on. And you're right. Look, the numbers there speak for themselves. If you can mitigate your misses and be good around these greens at Muirfield Village, you're going to be in and around the top of the leaderboard come the end of Sunday.
You were calling it major championship golf. The course is major championship style. Around the green, you got to scramble, but then also off the tee. We wanted to get an off the tee stat in here just because of how tough it is to drive the ball at Memorial in the fairway. Strokes gained off the tee was the one significant factor that we saw for the winners because, again, the previous five winners, all of them inside the top 10 in the field that week, strokes gained off the tee.
Jack Nicklaus wants to make this a tough test. He wants it to be difficult. Quite a few times, rain has got in the way of that. There's been soft courses and he hasn't been able to play things as hard and fast as he would like. But the last few years, we have been able to get more hard and fast conditions. He's grown the rough up and made it a premium off the tee. So, yes, there's some room out there. They're not as tight as, say, a US Open layout where you have to be super, super accurate. But if you're in the rough off the tee here, you're struggling, you're scrambling because it is a tee to green place. It's a ball striker's paradise. You obviously want to be coming into these greens from the fairway. So it's very important that you get off the tee. If you're not in the fairway, you better be in that first cut or you better be way down there with some massive distance. Otherwise, you're going to be scrambling from well back. And that's going to leave you falling behind in these fields.
I'm just thinking about those par fives and how you have to score on the par fives. But if I recall correctly, a lot of trouble off the tee on those par fives, isn't there?
Yeah, 100%. If the 11th is a famous one with the creek down the left side. You got trouble there. 16 is another 15 with another where if you pull it left, you've got creek and hazard to deal with. And if you go to the right, you've got houses. You're in the fence, you're playing up someone's backyard. And someone famously on tour was trying to play from behind that fence a few years ago on his way to trying to win. So, these things do happen. They've obviously maneuvered I think it's the fifth, right? Yeah, the fifth on the front nine to make it a true sort of three-shot hole as well. You have to be able to get after them when you can, and it all starts, as you mentioned, off the tee.
So scrambling well, hitting the ball well off the tee. Our third one is a little less specific, but we're highlighting it because we can't ignore the last 9 winners. We're all inside the top 12 in strokes gained tee to green. Horschel, Cantlay, Rahm, three straight winners. All were first tee to green. Now, here's the question, Ben. Does that mean that the premium on putting is not as big this week?
It's not as big. There is some value in it, obviously, but let's just look at last year. Scotty Scheffler destroyed the field, strokes gained tee to green, and he was dead last of those making the cut in putting. Had he made one more putt, I think he would have been in the playoff, or two more putts. He got away with putting terribly and still was, I think, third, right? So you can get away with it to some degree, not putting brilliantly. You only need to be just okay on the greens, but you absolutely have to be dynamite into the greens. You cannot get away without a good strokes gained tee to green game. Look at the winners, you said. These are top level guys, FedEx Cup winners, major winners. We did have the 2 years where Lingmerth and David and McGirt got wins, but they were outside of themselves that week in strokes gained tee to green. And that's how they were able to do it. I think Lingmerth took down Justin Rose, another known ball striker.
Mm-hmm.
So it's not like we don't have obvious trend here. Big names, guys who hit the ball well, tee to green, and just putt reasonably well to get it done. And that's what Jack set it up. That's what he wants it to be. He wants the studs that can play that all-around game, make enough putts to win. He wants to have those guys at the end where he can shake their hand on the 72nd hole and congratulate them on a great victory.
And all you have to do is look at the big names who have won this event over the years. It's not ironic. Tiger's won, what, 5 times?
Yeah, Tiger 5. As you said, look at it. Got Hovland, Cantlay twice. Scheffler probably should have won. Rahm won, you mentioned. DeChambeau when he was early. Hideki Matsuyama as a young kid, ball striker. Steve Stricker's another one that comes to mind. Matt Kuchar. Guys that were solid, very good, tee to green, make enough putts, scramble enough around the greens. It's a list that would fit in most major championships in terms of the winners. And you do generally need to have played at least once there before. I think only one first-timer has ever won at the Memorial. So you want to get some reps around there, get yourself in the game and hopefully take one of the most impressive trophies home, because they all want to be there to shake Jack's hand on the 8th.
So those are the 3 key stats that we identified in our data crunching our numbers. Now it's time to look at strokes gained at Muirfield Village Golf Club. We're looking at the last 5 years, average per round. Who's gaining more strokes than anybody else in this field? And we love this week, Ben, because look at the names at the top. So many stars. Cantlay's not a surprise. Scheffler is very eye-opening here because of that one red number he has, but he's right next to Cantlay, which kind of brings you to the dilemma this week. What do you do with Scotty Scheffler?
100%. It's going to be the next 24 hours for me, especially while we're trying to come up with our expert picks, if you will, whether or not I give Scheffler any credence. I did watch him last year closely. I've not seen ball striking like that live for a long time, and also seen such bad putting. It was mind-boggling to watch what he did there. Surely he can't putt that bad this time around, but will he hit it as well? Not sure. He's gotten rid of, obviously, some of the off-field distractions that have plagued him the last couple of weeks, so he's raring to go. We do have the added wrinkle, if you will, this time. This is right before the US Open. We talked about this. Guys will be ready to go from day one, but should they start slowly, what is their mentality from that point on? Will they push hard, surge hard, or will they take their foot off the gas a little bit? We'll have to sort of see how that plays out over the week. But yeah, Scheffler 350. I hate those odds. I hate him, but
I know.
He's the favorite for a reason.
What's the point? Like, they're asking you not to bet is what they're doing.
Yes, correct. They just do not want you to bet Scotty Scheffler. And I'll say what I always say here. I do think he's a huge chance to win. If I was using my own money, I'd be trying to ride the fluctuations of live betting. I'd be trying to pick a number in my head, whether that's 500, 600, 700. Try and hope he hits it early in the tournament, and then jump on if you think he might start a little slow. And then you look, the guy there you mentioned right next to him, Cantlay. This is his place. 2 wins.
Right, but he's not playing the way. He's not playing it, though, is the problem.
Not playing well, but this is where the wrinkle comes in, and I'll throw this. All I'm doing is confusing everyone out there. But where has he played well this year? Genesis didn't get it done on Sunday, and RBC Heritage, right? Both places where he has good course history. So he was able to get out of the slump, if you will, that he's in this year
Yeah.
at those two venues. He didn't win though. So maybe the value in Cantlay here is not necessarily winning again, but maybe you do get a little juice compared to the others in, say, a top 10 market on Cantlay.
Okay. And then there's two guys on this board before we go to the next five baiting you. Just say, okay, please pick me. Colin Morikawa, way too low at 14 to
I
1.
know.
I'm sorry. And then, and you know what, Jordan Spieth, that 40 to 1 number, they're just asking you, please, please bet on Jordan Spieth this week because his numbers are awesome. The problem is it's going to be tough to actually pull the trigger. I'm sorry, on Jordan Spieth right now.
I think Jordan is one of the only players, if not the only player, since the recent renovation at Muirfield Village that's under par for all the times he's played there. Like
Wow.
it's ridiculously a place that he has performed without winning. And you're right, they're starting to get to that number. They're getting to the number where you're going to get Spieth fans jumping
Yep.
on. They're getting smart. The books are like, how about we entice them? Get
Yeah.
to that 40 or 50 to 1.
They
Know
could have
they'll
put him
get
at
the
30
money.
to 1 and it wouldn't have been as fun.
Yep, they know they'll get it. And you know what? It is a roller coaster. If you want to get on, if you want to buy your ticket on the roller coaster, Jordan Spieth's always the roller coaster event that you want to get on. I just can't. I can't bet him to win. I'm going to miss when he does win, which he will eventually win again at some point.
He's going to win when
I'm
you
going
don't
to be someone
expect him to. And there's no point, no rhyme or reason to guessing or picking that is the problem.
Yeah. So, I mean, look, it has to be, look, you have to get him consistently in 40, 50 or more for me to be even to suggest to the Spieth and Texan fans out there.
He's getting up there.
Yeah, because can he win once in 40 or 50 times?
Yes, he
Probably.
can. He's probably right around there right now. He's probably getting close to 40.
Yes. So yeah, you can have a stab in the dark if you want. A little bit of fun, but you'll probably be kicking yourself later because he'll get close. He'll tease you. He'll be there. I don't know. It's cool. It's good to see that the numbers, the odds are getting up there because that's where it should be for Jordan. That's the ride you should be able to get on. At least knowing that if he does finally pull one out, you'll get good return for it. And Morikawa, look, everyone knows if you've been listening to us for the last few weeks, I am going to find somewhere on my board for Colin Morikawa because I promised I would. I said I thought he would.
For 2 weeks, yes.
Yes, I thought that out of the PGA where he was really disappointing on that Sunday, we correctly predicted he might not be quite at that level going straight into the Charles Schwab. He did, however, though, make a late run to fourth or fifth. He was, he was up there on the leaderboard without really contending. So I think that's part of the reason you're seeing that plus 1,400 number. Also, he's played well here. He won the event that wasn't the Memorial in the COVID return. We had back-to-back tournaments, and he won the one that was pre-Memorial. He's also gone close at the Memorial and was really looking good last year. I think fourth going into the final round. Pulled out just in his warm-up on Sunday with a bad back. He tweaked his back in the warm-up of the final, before the final round. Pulled out. Who knows what he may have been able to do that Sunday had that not happened. So, yes, I'll find somewhere for Morikawa. I don't know if it's going to be at plus 1,400 to win.
Could be a head-to-head. You got options. You have options.
I got to look around in the head-to-head or take a really bad number at a top 10. We'll see what happens.
He might be minus money in top 10.
Yeah. So,
just full disclosure, I might take a look at Siwoo Kim for something. I am a sucker for betting on Siwoo Kim. His numbers here so consistent. And another guy who's going to be a sucker, I think, for a lot of people as we're on to the next list here, numbers 6 through 10, is Denny McCarthy. Not because solely of his 66 to 1 odds, just the fact that this guy's been knocking at the door. He's waiting to win big. But I'm looking at this and I'm thinking, am I really going to let myself do that when I see those two glaring numbers off the tee and approaching the green when he's been lights out on the green? And if you're not lights out on the green, he's not going to do well. So he has to putt well, really well, to do well. And that's my struggle. And I think a struggle a lot of people will have if you want to pick someone like him is, okay, well, he's going to get there. He's going to get there. And we all have players we think, okay, they're ready. They're coming up. I'm going to keep hammering them home, and they're eventually going to win for me. That could be McCarthy. I don't like the stats here at this course.
You said he has to putt lights out. Is exactly what he did last year. I mean, it was ridiculous what he was making there last year, and he clearly led the field in strokes gained putting, and it almost jagged him a win. I mean, he ended up in a playoff with Victor Hovland, but ultimately wasn't able to get over the line at the last hurdle, and that's what happened obviously earlier this year too. Just lit up on the greens, made that huge run in Texas, ends up in a playoff, but then his game his short game and approach game, or whatever, deserted him when it really mattered. And so that's the problem with Denny McCarthy. I don't have a problem with Denny McCarthy here if you're trying to jag good numbers at a top 10, top 20. Absolutely.
It would be pretty high up there if he's 66 to 1.
Correct. Yeah. I don't love the 66 to 1 in terms of thinking that he can win against this quality of a field again, who are now locked in. They're actually all trying to be around peak because they have this and the US Open coming. I don't know if down the stretch with the blowtorch back on him, he's going to get over someone that's a little bit better pedigree, if you will, in terms of wins before. I do think he could be sneaky good for some place markets or a head-to-head against someone. But the off the tee is going to get him in trouble. And if he can't putt, if he doesn't make the 9 out of 10, 18 footers for par, saves off of birdies, then he's not going to be up there at the top of the leaderboard, right? So that is an issue. And we know that good putters generally always putt well, but do they always putt lights out? Not usually lights out every time they turn up.
And another problem for McCarthy is look at the star power we have on this top 10 of strokes gained. We haven't talked about Schauffele, Homa. Rory is on this list. He's number 10. I didn't put him on there just because he is number 10 in strokes gained against this field at this event the last 5 years. We have the roundtable on Tuesday, so we're not going to waste all the time talking about all these big-name stars. But, Ben, this is a big-time superstar course with a lot of big names, and we could be in for a real fun weekend at Muirfield.
It's going to be huge. I can't wait to get out there again, traveling out there later in the week, obviously. We've got, and our man Will Gray's out there early week too, so we'll have some insight before the tournament from Will as well. We'll find out how juicy the rough is. We'll get more close. As we get closer, we'll get a better weather forecast, whether or not rain hits early in the week to soften things up. Look, just the two guys. We will talk about this later in the week, but what do you do with Rory and what do you do with Schauffele? Schauffele's coming up a PGA, victory.
And his odds are going down.
Yeah, and he's not won here, but I think I've told this story too. We sat in a rain delay in the halfway house together 1 year there at Memorial, and it was him and Cantlay and myself, and just talking about the course and whether they thought they could win there. Obviously, Cantlay had already won there. He's just waxing lyrical about the joint, loved it. And little Schauffele just kept digging him, saying, "Yeah, but I'm coming for you. I'm going to get 3, or I'm going to get." He was a lot of friendly fire and fun, but he really loves the place as well. Hasn't closed the deal there, but has been there or thereabouts. Maybe the confidence of Valhalla is all that he needed to take one step further there at Memorial.
Wouldn't that be something if Xander Schauffele becomes the next it player on the PGA Tour? Thanks for watching Key Stats. We'll see you next time for the Golfbet Roundtable on Tuesday.